You are not seeing reality as it is. You are seeing what you were allowed to see. And what is available was never neutral. And the most important part is this: you don't notice the structure. You only notice the result. You assume you are observing, evaluating, deciding. But observation is not passive. It is structured. Before you interpret anything, something has already been selected. What you see, what you don't, what appears relevant, what feels distant. This is where perception begins. Not with truth, with framing. Most people believe they act based on facts, but facts are inert. They do not tell you what matters. They do not tell you how to interpret. They do not tell you what to ignore. Interpretation does that. And interpretation is not random. It is shaped. You do not react to reality. You react to how reality is presented. The same event can produce opposite conclusions, not because the facts changed, but because the frame did. Framing defines meaning. Change the frame, and you don't need to change the facts. It decides what is central, what is peripheral, what is emphasized, what is dismissed. And once meaning is defined, reaction follows. This is not manipulation. It is structure. Now consider something simpler. You cannot process everything, not all information, not all signals, not all possibilities. So your attention filters reality. What you focus on becomes real. What you do not see does not exist to you. And what doesn't exist to you cannot influence your decisions. Not metaphorically, practically. Because perception is limited, and limitation creates selection. But selection is not neutral. It is guided, subtly, continuously. You are not shown everything. You are shown enough. Enough to act. Enough to decide. Enough to feel informed. But not enough to question the structure. Because the whole is not necessary. Only the relevance lies. And relevance is defined by the system. This is the second pillar. Attention filters perception, not by hiding reality, but by narrowing it. You do not need to be prevented from seeing. You only need to be directed toward something else. Now something more subtle happens. Over time, what you see repeatedly begins to feel true. Not because it is verified, not because it is familiar. Familiarity creates stability, and stability makes things feel true. even when they are incomplete. You trust what you recognize. You accept what you have seen before, even if it is selective, even if it is framed. This is the third pillar. Repetition stabilizes belief, not through argument, through exposure. The same pattern, the same structure, the same narrative, again and again and again, until it no longer feels like a version. It feels like reality. This is not distortion. It is designed. At this point, something changes. You stop questioning what you see, because questioning requires distance, and repetition removes distance. It brings the familiar closer, and what is close feels real. This is where perception becomes architecture, not an interpretation of reality, but a structure that defines it. You are not navigating reality. You are navigating a version of it. And the more consistent that version is, the less likely you are to question it. One that is framed, filtered, repeated, and within that version, your behavior makes sense. Your decisions feel rational. Your conclusions feel justified because they are consistent with what you see. But what you see is not everything. It is what is available, and availability is a structure. This is where the system becomes efficient. It does not need to control behavior, because behavior follows perception. If perception is shaped, behavior aligns. No force required. No instruction needed. This is not control. It is positioning. Placing you within a frame where certain conclusions become obvious, where certain options feel natural, where certain ideas feel inevitable. You are not being told what to think. You are being shown what to see, and seeing is enough. Because one perception is aligned, interpretation follows. And once interpretation stabilizes, behavior becomes predictable. At this stage, the system no longer needs to intervene, because your decisions are already consistent with the structure. You choose, but within a frame. You evaluate, but within a context. You conclude, but within a perspective. And all of it feels real, because it is, just not complete. This is the quiet advantage of perception. It operates before awareness, before reflection, before resistance. You cannot question what you do not see. You cannot challenge what feels normal. You cannot resist what appears obvious. And obvious is the most stable form of influence. This is why the system does not need to hide the truth. It only needs to present it in a specific way, not by removing information, but by arranging it, sequencing it, highlighting it, until one version becomes dominant. And dominance creates reality, not because it is absolute, but because it is repeated. At this point, you are no longer observing, you are participating. You interpret, you decide, you act, all within the frame, and the frame remains invisible because you are inside it. You are not reacting to reality. You are reacting to a version of it, a version that was structured before you ever had the chance to question it.